Alright guys, this is the 11th episode of Music, the Universal Language Podcast. Today I got my guest, known as the Good Time Hobo, or also known as Josh Robson. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, Jacob?
Thanks for being on the podcast, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, dude, thank you for having me.
How you been?
I've been good. Just
working for the man and...
That's right.
Sorry, I'm interrupted.
You're good.
Yeah, you seem busy a lot. You're a busy guy.
Yeah. We just moved out here not very long ago, out to LaSalle, Illinois, and just kind of picking up the pieces around here and getting a good foundation and just stability, really.
Yeah, adapting and adjusting to a new area. And this is like how far are you from like Chicago? Like an hour or two?
I'm probably, I think from here, I think it was about a 2-hour drive.
Like Chicago area, what have you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. So you're probably like, 3 hours from the border of Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, and that's where I was from originally. Before we moved here, I was living northwest suburbs of Chicago, over by like the border of Wisconsin, pretty much.
Yeah. So more on the like the Gurney side sort of thing, or.
Yeah, I was McHenry County area.
Oh, right.
So in that location, that's how I discovered you and your music was playing at some of the venues around the town, and
Oh, right on. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of those little country towns up north there. It's like they just take forever to get to because it's like you can only take country roads. But like, on a map, it's like doesn't look like it's that far. You know what I mean? Because like it probably take you like over an hour to get to like Beloit. That's where I'm from, but it doesn't. It's just like right over the border, sort of thing. I guess you gotta go west for a while, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but all right. So how did things start with you with music? So you grew up in the northern part of Illinois.
Yeah.
Chicago suburbs, kinda ish.
Yeah. Well, basically, in my childhood, I was my parents. They kind of just didn't even know what to do with me anymore. I was really just a reckless kind of kid.
Right. Yeah. Get in trouble a lot, or what have you.
Yeah. So anything that they would like get me into, I would never really stick to it, or and sometimes it wasn't even entirely my choice, is it like influences from school or just like my folks, and just like, oh, this is how you're supposed to be as a man.
Right, I get what you're saying.
Right. So as that was going on, I had an interest to try to play guitar. It was electric guitar. It was when I first, that sparked my interest, because to me, I thought that was a good outlet for whatever was going on in my life at that time. And I thought that would be a good outlet for, to kind of get some of these feelings out. And then when I got...
Okay.
So I was about to say, when I actually got my first guitar, my uncle got it for me for my birthday. It was an electric guitar. And I automatically thought, this is how I'm going to get a girlfriend.
Like, hell yeah. Wait, okay, so which birthday was this? How old were you?
I was about 14 years old.
Oh shit, yeah, that's what I got my first electric then. I mean, that was the first guitar, so I think that's kind of common, and that's maybe when you start kind of like you're really into music that's like your music, like you've kind of like been into your own shit for a while or whatever, your own taste. Whatever. Yeah. What were you kind of into? Influences or?
Oh, back then, it was all metal.
Fuck yeah. Like modern metal, like the metal of.
It was like Lamb of God, Pantera, even. But I like when I first started playing, I wasn't even attempting to play like some of the metal bands that I was into at the time. I was still doing like Ozzy and just kind of back in the day stuff. And just figuring out from there.
Right, because some of the shit gets so crazy with the metal, like the fast shit.
Yeah.
So trying to start out like that, that could be intimidating.
Yeah, and I think too, like I just remember like in my mind every time like I would try to play something very fast and just complex. In my mind, I just wanted to do it one time. Have it flawless one time, and that's it. I'm done.
I worked my ass off to get to this.
And just get it once.
You could do like the the slow, like the Sabbath. That's taking it slow, right? Fucking Iron Man. That's cool. So you're kind of into the metal thing, and were you just like playing alone a lot, or you're kind of like showing girls that you had a guitar?
I was playing alone, and also in my adolescent mind too. I was thinking, I'm like, all right, I can totally get a girlfriend like this. I did. I got a girlfriend, because like my school, they were having talent shows and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'll bring my guitar, and
nice.
So I started bringing my guitar and playing and like getting the distortion and doing little riffs and getting some attention and whatnot. And I got a girlfriend, lost her right away,
Oh damn.
but I kept my guitar. That was the one thing that stayed with me.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's kind of how it works. If that's the way you get her, she'll leave just as quick. Right on. Yeah. So okay, so how long you kind of just like throughout high school, kind of getting good by yourself, or did you eventually end up playing with anybody?
So what I would jam with my hometown friends and who would be playing drums or other instruments, and we would try to set up these particle band kind of deals, and it never, though, for whatever reason, like it just was a lot of energy to try to put into having a full set band that was committed and wanting to practice and just like just doing this stuff.
Well, especially so you're talking about particle, like the dance trance music shit, like the.
Well, I'm not. Well, Well, it was.
Or no, you were into trying to do the metal still.
No, we're still. Yeah, it was metal. I meant like particle as just in like different types of beats.
I get what you're saying. No, it's hard to keep it all together, especially when you're young. It's like you don't realize how important that is. I guess you know what I'm saying. Like everyone's got to be like just as passionate about it, and you kind of figure out kind of who isn't pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that was the one thing too, because like everyone kind of just took it as a joke, even like the musicians I'm jamming with, it was just really just a joke, and like honestly, some of these guys too had just amazing talent that I wish they were utilizing today. Really,
I know. That's how it works sometimes. It's like people have natural skills, but then they don't see that they can actually do anything with it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're young. I don't know. But you said still to this day they still like can shred.
Yeah.
They're like, you work a day job, whatever.
Yeah, so that was so that none of that was really ever picking up, where we would be jamming or anything like that.
Never did like a house party show or nothing, or just
nothing. I mean, like maybe it maybe be in my friend's basement, jamming and just having a few people over.
Right.
But that would be the extent of it, and that I think what ended up actually, this is probably where that transition came, with stuff like that going on, and a lot of drinking and a lot of partying, and that was my focus had eventually shifted into, now I didn't want to do anything with music too much. I wanted to party.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that's where it ended up happening, where I wasn't playing music for quite some time, through my high school, and I was trying to be something that I don't even know how to be or even know if I want to be.
Well, and it's like I actually kind of did a similar thing, but like almost as I partied more or experimented per se, I almost like I kept getting into different music more. So in a sense, you almost like you keep studying in a sense, but you don't realize it at the time. You know what I'm saying? So by the time you pick it up again, you're like, well, I got all this influence of shit I've been listening to for the last however years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It does have an effect, like for sure.
Yeah,
probably.
there is that silver lining in that, because that's the same thing with me, where I would experiment with different stuff, different drugs, different hallucinogens, and eventually found that metal was not always my jam.
Yeah, I mean, I love metal for what it is, but it's almost like I couldn't do it all the time. No, and when I was probably like pretty angry. I had a lot of angst, like a teenager.
Oh, well, I think I
went to Ozfest. I think 04. Yeah, 04 Ozfest. Or the fuck that was. But yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I think it was more harder on me to like actually accept the fact that I am not this hardcore, just straight metal person.
So did you like have the whole?
I worked so hard to build this, persona, or this person, character of myself to be.
So you were known as a metalhead in high school, per se.
Right, and then now I'm it'd be Grateful Dead and stuff. So it's just the leap of that.
So was it like by the end you were kind of like, I'm listen to whatever.
Well, high school, it was really just like, so me, the guy pushing metal music to my friends, right, and just always like pushing all this kind of music. And it was, what happened was a few of my friends would show me their stuff that they like too, and it would not be metal. And at first I was like, oh, what is where's the shred?
And then eventually,
and like I just remember like just this feeling of surrendering, really to like
to like melodies and like
because
kind of
it was a slow progress, but it did happen where I was like, okay, I gotta fucking lighten up, because it's either this or I'm just gonna continue to be an asshole, or try to.
So was there any did you have any specific bands, even like one or two, that like kind of transfer you over, or you're like kind of like getting into like Zeppelin? You like Zeppelin had like metal shit and soft shit, so you can kind of like go back and forth.
It definitely, yes. Zeppelin was great for that transition. Yeah, I think they are definitely.
Is that one of the main? Yeah,
one of the main pioneers for it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it's like even some like, I don't know, like harder classic rock is kind of like metal-ish in its own right. I don't know. Yeah. Even the Doors are just like rocking. I don't know.
Right. So yeah, Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. Stuff like that.
Yeah, Hendrix,
yeah. So you still get that raunchy experimental distortion, and just that was kind of the that was words.
like first you're skipping the soft songs, and then eventually you just let it play. You just go to the rockin' songs, and you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of metal. Yeah. No, Hendrix definitely, and he had such a huge blues influence, but he still like rocked the fuck out, so.
Yeah. And then also too, my dad as well. I was adopted by my grandparents, and he grew up, in that era where he was following the Doors and stuff like that. And
no shit.
He would play stuff and talk about like some of his experiences and everything. It kind of sparked my interest on like, it was just another viewpoint where you look at someone you just never expect, you're like,
right. Well, it's like the things you don't know when you're young, and then you kind of realize how your parents are kind of cool or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like, oh shit, you like this? Yeah. I think, the Zeppelin's definitely a good example of that, or a good way to. I'm not even the biggest Zeppelin fan, but they definitely have enough diverse shit to where you can kind of like have a really broad palette of, different type of styles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then like, I think, and then Hendrix, for the most part, like all like metal gods like worship Hendrix. Like Zach Wilde loves Hendrix or whoever the fuck,
Yeah.
I don't know all the fucking guys' names. I used to be like into when I was like in high school, it was like System of the Down and shit, and like, but of course I like Metallica and Slayer and Pantera.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I was at. CKY, Metallica, definitely all that. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30. Okay, cool. So I'm almost 35. So yeah, you're just like that next generation. So
yeah.
You're like, but were you into much new metal, or were you kind of like sticking to the?
No, I was into new metal too, and I mean, not enough to where like nowadays where I can't even like cycle through it, So I guess like I think I was into new metal for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but. Well, we all have different reasons, and it's all like when you're young, you're so impressionable. It's like you're saying, you're trying to like stick to this persona you built because you feel like it's so important in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's all these like cliques of like, I don't know how your high school was. There was like a metalheads, there was a punk scene, there was the preps,
exactly.
hip hop heads. And like sometimes we all the only time they all mix together is at the fucking parties. Right?
Yeah. Oh,
and we all start getting partying more.
Right? You know the best music for that clash of people? Sublime.
I was just gonna say that, bro. And that's you could hear that at any one of those. You could hear it at a punk party, hip hop party, a preppy party. Yeah, because they had a little bit of everything. And they're not very metal, but they definitely had a healthy amount of punk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So fuck yeah, dude. Sublime, Brad Knoll. Fucking man, I don't know about this new Sublime, but whatever. Do the thing. Sublime with Rome.
Yeah.
What's his name? I think it's only Bud. He's the only guy in it. Or no, Eric, the bass.
Oh.
He's the only guy who's actually in it, or the original. Bud's gone. The drummer, he's gone. All right. So it was kind of like, so you didn't play for a while, and eventually you.
Oh, so eventually, this is what happened. It spiraled even worse. I eventually was getting into pills and popping them and stuff like that. And I had a neighbor that just moved in. He was from North Carolina, him and his girlfriend. And I'm still at this very young age where I think he was probably around 27 or something at the time, or 25. And I was like 15, 16 years old. And
oh shit.
Right. And like, I thought these were some cool people wanting to hang out and party and everything. Right. And I had offered them, some of the prescription pills that I was getting from my friend and that he was getting from his dad. And got
that family hookup.
Right. And there were Oxycontins, and these were like the old school Oxycontins where you apparently so what happened was he's like, yeah, I'm like yeah, I'm gonna go pick up some Oxys now, and he's like, you can get those, and like his eyes and his girlfriend's eyes just like lit up, with excitement.
And you're like, I have something, like I'm of value now.
Yeah, right.
Especially to older people.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because in my mind, I'm just popping these things, and I was thinking, like, you're cool, but like, how, like, I like the facial expression right now does not describe what I'm, like, how I've experienced these to be,
Right. You're like, I made mushrooms, and that was way more intense or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? This little pill?
Right. So I started getting him, these oxys, and I was getting them all the time, like every other day, picking them up for myself, and then I'd give him some. And it was one day I was gonna go get some, and I went over to his house to see if they wanted any, and he was in the kitchen, and he was crushing up an Oxycontin pill on a spoon, and he's putting water. He's got needles and stuff, and prepping it up, and cooking it down, right? Yeah. And I'm like, and still, I'm like young, just not even knowing like what what they're about to do or anything. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, dude, he's like, I'm about to bang this shit. I'm cooking this up. You know, I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, you can do that? You know, it's just
right. I mean, yeah, he's that young.
Right. I'm like, you can do that? And I'm like, what does that do? And he's like, you want to try it? He's like, you're just give it a shot. And I did. Right. So I did. And that's when that first moment of the feeling, the rush to that, when injecting an opiate, I had first experienced, hit me. In just, I knew when that happened, this was something I'm just gonna love for the rest of my time because now I was getting these things for free, and I was getting them and I was popping them. Now I now discovered that there's a whole different way of taking these things that are gonna amplify this high 10 times, and I just
because even they're like time release if you pop them. That's why even people just eat them, like crunch them up, right?
Right.
To get the effect quicker. So when it's time release, it's almost like, your metabolism and everything. It's like a slow, not as intense thing. So this is something that's like, bam.
Because I mean, my experience, like when that happened that first time, it felt like, you ever see those war movies where like a bomb will go off and you hear this pin just like a beep?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was like, and you just got pins and needles running all over you, and you just your ears are muffled out, and it's just this incredible feeling. And the entire time, like, again, I didn't associate this to be like something bad, like that was like again, like I did not associate this to be anything that was
related to heroin. And you were naive. You were so you were 16 when you first did it, or 15?
Well, it was I was about 16.
That's fucking young, man. Like that's I mean, I had friends the same way, and the thing is, like, it's so prevalent in any of that area. Like that's why Beloit has so much, because it's like it's where all the highways cross. You can go to Chicago to Madison, Chicago to Milwaukee. So it's like, I mean, I guess you were getting them for free, but like, as you probably found out, there's shit all over eventually, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's because. So what happened was my friend's dad, he died. So
shit.
Right. So he died, and we weren't getting those pills anymore. Like I called, I remember the phone call. I called, and I hear his girlfriend, it was on speakerphone. I hear her in the background. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm like, Danny's dead, or Danny's dad's dead. And the first thing she says, like, I'm kind of mourning over here. And the first thing she's like, so we can't get these fucking pills anymore. Like that's the one thing that she jumped to. Like, so we can't get it. I was just like, no, that prescription has been deceased. Like it's not.
And so, like, was this like a year later, or you already kind of like deep in it?
This is probably about a year going into with. So
you're like, you're addicted at this point, essentially.
Well. And that was the other thing. So what happened too, when I find out the news, and these days start going by, I started withdrawing, and this was my first withdrawal that I've ever experienced. And I remember going over to my neighbor's house and just like talking about it. And he's like, we're about to go to the city and pick up some dope. I'm like, why? And he's like, it's for the withdrawals. Like he's like, you'll get your sick off. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's, again, like I didn't even associate,
right.
Like,
and that's the thing of, they turned you on to it, and this is what you find out after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a sense, they are the adults, even though obviously they're like addicts. Like, that's the shit they won't tell you. Like, oh, just try it, man. But when you get sick, we gotta go to the city, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
25 and 15 or whatever. That's
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, continue. So then,
Yeah.
So then, shit got.
I mean, so it was quickly after that day. That's when things just spiraled even more out of control. Yeah. So it's just now I'm not. It's dope all the time, every day, and that
Right.
was how I was operating as a human being, and
Damn.
it tore actually. Well, the first people that were in my life were like my close friends that I was growing up with, they completely just stopped talking to me. I was shunned, I guess, from
Damn.
my whole
Right.
town.
Shit, man.
Nobody wanted anything to do with me. Except for actually, I had one friend, by the way, again, with someone who was just amazingly talented. He probably one of the best people I've ever seen and heard play guitar in my entire existence. He
Shit.
ended up committing suicide though, which was unfortunate. And yeah, yeah, his cousin, the band Munyon.
Not ringing a bell.
Okay, they're like progressive. They're kind of like a Humphreys McGee type of band.
Okay. And they're in that same area, kind of.
Yeah, in that same. Yeah, I know they do like the after parties and stuff for Humphreys. But yeah, his cousin's the bass player for that band, which they're really talented. But yeah, he was one guy that even through that shit, he would still come and call and hang out with me, and just whatever I was, going through. He had no judgment. He was a really good friend.
Remained a friend. Yeah, that's cool. Well, and that's kind of like how you figure out, who's like tried and true. And it sucks when people turn their back on you just because like they should want to help you, but again, being young and I don't even know reputations. And
I think that's what it was. Like, I think a lot of my friends just kind of thought the tough love was gonna help break me out of this whatever kind of thing, and it didn't work. It got worse, So it tore me apart from. I was my family, my relationships with them. That was completely shattered. I had moved out and was living with my girlfriend at the time. I had a girlfriend, and I had stopped too. I stopped using. I stopped doing heroin, and she ended up picking it up, which was odd, And this is like, this is odd.
So, clean.
Yeah,
and shit
so it got kind of bad there, and then I got kicked out of her house, and I was not able to go back to my family's house. I was staying with her, and then when that shit happened, I was kicked out, unable to go back to my family's house, and now what the fuck do I do? Now I'm homeless.
Damn. And how old are you?
I honestly, I think I was maybe 17 or 18 years old. I was really young. I was
So I think you dropped out of school, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't in school anymore. That's the one thing. I wasn't in school. I couldn't go to school. didn't graduate or anything. So I was. That was around that. I think I was about 18, maybe 19. It could be 19. But all together, I ended up being in that state, living that kind of lifestyle of just survival of every day, and bearing the elements and everything. I kept doing it for 8 years, and the reason too, and this is what's so bizarre, is that because I did it for 8 years, and towards the end, I remember I put my tent and like where I was staying at night next to these train tracks in a town that wasn't too far from my family, and I had the mentality that I was going to kill myself one early morning if I was too sick and I didn't want to go pick up any dope, or whatever. That was it. And the bizarre thing is, the irony is, if the only thing that was like keeping my spirit to even live was to go get high, was to go get heroin. That was it.
Shit,
that was it.
Yeah. That's a brutal lifestyle, man. And
yeah,
I guess I mean, eventually when you turn around, you kind of have like a starting point of where to, come up from.
Yeah.
Right? You kind of get that. Oh, yeah. That's rough, man. And the thing is, I'm fortunate enough to never get too wrapped up in any opiates, but I've had a lot of friends who, one friend who died, and then just like at least two, if not three, who had to, go to rehab. Very similar thing. They got into it in high school.
Yeah.
And, so it's crazy, man. And then traveling, you meet so many kids just what you're saying about a train track. You meet train kids and just people living like that out in the tent and shit. It's fucking rough, man. Yeah, and people are still good people. It's just you have a physical dependency.
And that was the one thing. Like I hated the world. I hated and my parents too the entire time. And I did not understand this. They would tell me, they're like, look, we support you 100%, but we won't enable you.
Right.
And I didn't know. I had no idea what that means. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm eating out of trash cans, And I'm
exactly. Right. If you're gonna keep fucking, using, you can't be supported, basically, right?
Right. So, so what ended up happening was I was waiting to die. I was waiting to either kill myself or die of an overdose. And I was hoping those were my two options that I was kind of gearing up for. And by blessing in disguise, I again had got and through this I kept getting arrested on different shit, for paraphernalia, just a bunch of different random stuff. Right. And again, so a blessing in disguise had happened. I was arrested while I was on 2-year felony probation that had already been revoked 5 times. It wasn't even supposed to be a felony probation. It's just
because it got that. Right.
Damn. So I got arrested again. I was in and out of jail. But the last time, and this is where that was the state of mind, my mentality, living by the train tracks. I had gotten arrested, and all my charges and everything, they wanted me to serve prison time, and the offer, what they were going to go for was 7 years at 85%.
Oh shit.
So I was thinking, I'm like, 7 years, 85%. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't deserve this. Like, is there anything we can do? I don't want to go. Now my mentality is completely changed, and like, not, it's because like if I don't have death, I don't want prison.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Damn. So what? They had a different option, plea bargain, or what the fuck? What happened?
Well, so what ended up happening was I asked them, I said, what about this drug court program? Because I heard about it, and I knew a lot of people, everybody in jail too, would say like, oh, that shit's, you're going to fail right away. Like, it's a setup. If you get popped, doing anything while you're on drug court, they give you the full sentence and all this, all this shit, so everyone's talking up like it's such a bad move to go into and all this thing. And then even my public defender, I asked him, I'm like, he's like, oh, they're not going to assign you to drug court. And I even pressed him. I'm like, well, dude, like, can I just request the paperwork to fill it out and take a chance? He's like, yeah, we can do that, but it's not going to help your case. And I was like, all right, well, let me at least try,
Yeah, no shit, right?
Right. And so I did. I got the paperwork. I filled it out, turned it in, and then I was accepted. I was accepted for drug court.
Of course you were. Thanks, public defender.
And it's basically it's just an intense probation where you got to go to the courthouse 3 times a week. You're taking a piss test, and then you also have you got groups throughout the day. It's like 5 hours of outpatient groups, and then you also have to go to like the AA and NA meetings or whatever, like whatever sobriety, recovery groups that are available. And
were they like giving you like the methadone shit or no?
Oh no. I was just like I've been in a lot of different rehabs, and
this wasn't part of that. This wasn't.
Well, I when I first had sought for treatment, again, I think I was doing that for the wrong reasons. I was doing it to please my family, just to show them that I'm making an attempt, trying to better myself. And I was taking Suboxone, and what really it was just, it was almost just like a fucking babysitter for when the day that I didn't have Suboxone, I knew right away I was gonna go. I was just waiting, really, pretty much. Yeah. That was it. And because I was, how do I believe something? How do I believe in myself? At this point, like how when so like I just knew. I knew it was not gonna. So I had a lot of different attempts with that, and with rehabs and the treatment programs afterwards, and they put you on Suboxones and everything. I will say, if there is out in Waukegan, Illinois, there is a treatment program where they firmly believe Suboxone should only be used for the beginning trial of your withdrawals of like just a week or 2 weeks, and that's it.
And then they kind of lean it. Yeah, I have a friend who he didn't even really get that bad into opiates, but like he's convinced that he has to take it every day for like the rest of his life. And it's like it's a low milligram or whatever, but it's still like, bro, like you don't need to be dependent on any type of opiate, period.
Right.
No matter how small or prescribed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing where I see a lot of these addicts who are seeking recovery and treatment and everything, where they're told by their doctors, you're at least going to be on this medication for 2 to 5 years,
Right. Minimum type.
And then if you want to stay on it or complain or say, we'll extend that. And I think that's kind of the big pharma, their kickbacks that they're getting from these fucking drug companies, and that's all kind of tied into their corruption of it. And my point of view, I've seen it.
And the availability of the opiates in the first place, like got what is it? 75% of heroin users started on pills, type of thing. So it's all like full circle shit. It's like, oh yeah, like. Get on the hard shit, and then when you recover, get on this other shit. Just whatever.
Yeah, we still got you.
All right, so let's get into the music, man. So when did this all cultivate, manifest, and you're like, I gotta play guitar again, motherfucker?
Right.
Were you like 25 when this shit happened with the court and shit?
Yeah, I was. Let's see. When I get out of it, I think I was. I think it was about, I want to say like 20, I think it was 23 or 25. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe 24 or 25. I've been clean for 4 years. So it's been like just bad at math at the moment for whatever reason. So
yeah, no worries.
Trying to figure out the beginning.
It was like since 26, you haven't, nothing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No. I completely off opiates. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Thank you. So when that happened and I was accepted and now free in being micromanaged, I had to remember what it was that I felt passionate about. Like, how do I even have fun? How do I, because like these feelings had just been completely diluted for many, many years, and just practically forgotten,
Yeah.
And what it was is that I first thing that came to my mind was music. I'm like, oh, I love music. And it was odd because when this was happening, I'm like, I want to go see some live music. And there was a local music festival that was playing like the weekend coming up. And I
You're like,
thought,
oh yeah.
perfect. I'm like, perfect. I'm gonna go to there, and I did. And what happened too is also while I'm at this music festival, hallucinogens. I remember I was just like, okay, how do I? Like, I'm like, now I'm here. Like, what did I used to do? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try tripping, and I did, and that experience brought so much dark rooted things inside of me that I was now forced to see of who I had become and who, like what,
Oh
like
yeah.
there's this like I was completely, I couldn't move. I was being watched by a few of the people there. They're very, very friendly and kind, and just helping me out with water and just making sure I
Right.
wasn't, uh, too stressed and just having an anxiety attack or anything. And
But you're
so
just
that's
like analyzing and everything. It's
yeah,
something that
yeah,
needed to happen in a
yeah, and
sense.
it truly did, because the next day I just remember thinking to myself, I don't ever want to feel like that ever again. And I knew why I had felt like that. I knew what built what it's inside of me and how it became, and I just knew I never wanted to feel like that ever again. So where do I start? How do I do that? And I come to find out I was spiritually broken. I didn't
Right.
know, and that's what it was. I was just fully spiritually broken, and I was sick and tired of, you know, uh, the court system, and also the people in recovery just trying to push the NA and AA book on me, and like all this stuff, because like I was just at this point where like I'm done talking to people about how I feel, because I'm not even sure if I'm telling you how I feel is really exactly how I feel. I felt like
Right.
I kind of
And it's something as intense as a incredible trip can like you consciously make a decision like you'll never, so you don't have to convince anybody, right?
yeah,
Kind of convince it in your own. Well, you're the only one you have to convince your own
right,
mind.
exactly,
So you're like,
exactly,
yeah, all these people are constantly checking in on you because it's. I mean, obviously, yeah, you cause people to worry about you, as you know, but
right,
it's your choice. That's what it always comes down to. It always comes
yeah.
down to like, and how can someone get to that conscious choice? And man, I mean, it's incredible what a good trip can do, or just like have an epiphany, have some clarity.
Oh, and it completely changed my life on what I now needed to start doing for myself on a daily basis, because that's what it was. I was sick of talking to people and having them listen to me when I was unable to listen to me.
Right.
I didn't really know how to do that. And
Yeah. Totally.
yeah, so that's where it began. I'm like, well, how do you do this? And luckily there was a Blue Lotus temple right by my town, which is a Tibetan Buddhist temple that
Yeah.
practices
I've heard of it.
mindful meditation and metta meditation, love and kindness, where you're working on loving yourself. And that's
Hell yeah.
exactly what I
Work on
needed.
your
And
mind. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so
Yep.
you were just able to like join there or just
Yeah.
practice and.
That's, anybody can go. When I first, so I was still in drug court too, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was able to, instead of having to go to the AA meetings each week and fill out the little log and have somebody sign it, I was able to go to that temple and do these meditations and count it down as my as
Dude,
my
which is probably far more beneficial.
well, that's what they saw it as too. They're like, well, this is, you're practicing, something to help your recovery. And I was very, felt very strong about it, because what happened was when I went to this place, I was so freaking nervous. I couldn't even complete a full sentence. Like
Right,
there
right.
was something inside me. I muttered like a few words like, Josh, drug court, and just like
uh, I want to meditate.
Right. And but right away, these people just like, they're like, oh, and they knew what was going on. They knew what was happening. And
I can sense that shit, man.
Yeah,
feel your energy.
Well, that was what. So they knew what was happening. They knew how to work with me, and they asked me. They're like, "Would you be interested in volunteering here?" And I did. I started volunteering at this place every single day, and I learned with these monks how to communicate just with presence and not in a solid communication, non-verbal or anything. It just, yeah.
Well, that's what they say. Language is 7% of communication. That's because body language, and is like so much more. And you just like hold an energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you speak with tones, obviously that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, even without speaking, I think we lost the sense, honestly. I think we used to have. I think we used to have a stronger sense when we were kind of like more like animals, because they have that sense, like a more intuitive sense, or almost like a telepathic thing. You can communicate without verbal, words.
I've read a lot about different theories about like ascensions and stuff like that, and how
society does, man. No.
yeah.
Clutters our brains.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like, this is some life changing shit. I mean, you hit the lowest rock bottom, and so like everything is almost like it's like getting better, little by little, and then eventually you were like guitar or.
Yeah, exactly.
Through meditation, or what do you think?
Yep. So I got back into playing and write music again, and I just remember. So even in my hometown, there's an open mic. I'm not going to mention which place, but that place though has a very cliquey crowd of people that kind of run the whole music thing,
No way, not an open mic, bro. No way. I know. Yeah.
So I figured out fuck it. I grew up with these kids, like I'm just gonna go try it, and I wanted to go play and try it out, and I did, and it was starting to get kind of comfortable. I was starting to feel good about it and not so nervous playing with these, they're very talented musicians, don't get me wrong, but they definitely have like this cockiness to them in some forms, and
right, and that can outweigh the skill sometimes,
So in some way too, I think there is like this one like side, like, oh, I gotta show them, I guess.
Yeah, you want to be impressive in a sense.
Right. But so that started happening, and hold on.
So you're like 26, 27.
Yeah, I was.
So this is pretty recent, man. You're 30.
Yeah,
are you 31 soon, or you just turned 30?
I just turned 30. I turned 30 in January.
So, dude, when I fucking met you in 2018, you were fresh off.
That was
starting to do the music shit.
Yeah, pretty much. It was 2018. I was 28. Yeah, it was around that time. It was.
And so, like, were you doing? You were kind of doing the one man band before the loop. I mean, I kind of call them two different things, looper.
Yeah, so
you're doing the beat with your feet.
Yep.
First, right?
Yeah, that's where it started. I started playing with a suitcase kick drum and a tambourine. I'm on my foot, and just belling out whatever folk songs and songs I can come up with, or covers and stuff that are just gonna be fun. And what really though, my style, or kind of what kept me in some of these doors and places, was half the time I would just play a few songs, and it was more so just talking about life stuff and kind of connecting with the people who are there listening and enjoying themselves. And that was mainly that was all I really loved. You know, that was it. I would just talk to people, you know, and share stories, share experiences, and you know, just doing this while being on stage and just
like having a conversation with them. It feels like it's like intimate in a sense, and you
and that's
get the right people to listen. That
exactly.
can be cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically what it was. I really felt really good about some of the things that, you know, storytelling and just metaphors even, and kind of segue into some of the stuff that I would write, and then you know, just like transitioning it out, and that was
cool.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and to be like just accepted by your local kind of music scene is always cool. Just,
and that was another thing too.
You're working at it. You started with the open mic, and then they start getting a couple gigs and all that shit, right?
Yep.
So but now you kind of not only do you do the loop, you kind of do more instrumentals than anything, right? So you're kind of doing more lyrics and singing with the one man band setup with the suitcase.
So now what it's a full loop setup. When I first started just playing my acoustic, I had a little loop station pedal, and I would kind of do some stuff, some ambient, spacey kind of stuff with it. And, you know, I would even talk, you know, while there's a loop going, and just kind of chat about whatever kind of like worldly stuff's going on. And, you know, just, again, still build that connection with everyone in the room. And I think, you know, there was just something that sparked where I had, you know, been inspired before by Keller Williams, really. And I just remember, I'm like, you know what, like, I think I would like to upgrade my looper station, have a multi-track where I can, you know, bring in different sounds and take them out. And so that's kind of, that was, you know, I'm like, I'm gonna try it, you know. And I always hear that was again too, where like other musicians who were doing that, you know, or who tried it and stopped doing it, they would just talk so badly about it. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it was almost like really already my dreams were being killed. You know.
Like, bro, I want to try it. You know. Keller does it like Keller's like so flawlessly with it, and you know he was like peaking. A good, I don't know, like decade ago. He still has a huge fan base, but you know.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no, yeah, and that was it. Like, so I think one good thing about, you know, hearing other people talk about it is that, like, okay, I can loop, but I don't want to sound too much like Keller. You know,
right?
Like,
yeah, you gotta have a original thing, you know. And
exactly.
I think the thing with Keller is he always has that like comedic aspect, and his voice is just like. It sounds like Keller, you know. You'd have to try to sound like Keller, too.
Right, yeah.
And then he does all those harmony pedals he gets in the.
Yeah.
Put the joint in my pocket, you know. I've seen him so many times, but it's like hard to remember most of the shows. You know what I'm saying? But it was oh man, I saw him a lot. Like probably 2005, like 2009 or some shit. But anyways, so how temporary was because when I met you, you said it was like the one man band thing was kind of like your old setup, and we just like had to like you just did it because we had that shitty sound system or whatever. We're just like, all right, fuck it, let's just make do. So like by then you were already looping, and that was kind of like you weren't doing the stomp thing anymore or the suitcase.
Yeah, well, like that was the thing. I had gotten looper. But I still wasn't bringing it out yet. I was at home practicing with it, trying to get as familiar as possible. I still, to this day, every day, you know, I'd tell you the truth. If it was my choice, I would love to practice 6 to 8 hours a day. You know.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, the thing is with the looper too, you got to be so on the beat because you know you fuck up live. I got to start over, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I actually did. I had one temporarily, and honestly, the reason I stopped because it got stolen. But
yeah. You know. Oh yeah, that's happened to me too. Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck it, I'm acoustic now. Yeah. All right.
Right. So that's what was happening. I still hadn't really brought it out much, and then when I finally did, it was I think that part when I started bringing in the looper and just like doing other things, it did take away those connections, those where I would have in the room. It would take away because my mind is now being multi use, right? So
right.
it wasn't as strong as it was before when it was just my guitar and I'm just talking with my guitar and kick drum and just talking to people.
Right.
So it started to take away that aspect of things. So it has been this balance that I've been seeking throughout the years of bringing this setup to different places and how I can incorporate that from where I began into this new style that I'm venturing into. And
we said like you'd speak over a kind of ambient loop. Do you ever do that? Like you ever have just like a one layer loop as like an intro, and then you talk, and then it like eventually you just keep adding to it or something.
Yeah.
Kind of thing?
Definitely.
That sounds pretty dope. Especially you do it right. You're giving the story, and then all of a sudden you start fucking hitting because you use like a drum machine and keyboard and what's all the elements you got?
So my setup right now is I have my guitar, I have a banjo, I also use a violin bow I recently started using on the banjo, which has just been great.
Fuck yeah. You got a pickup, you made your banjo electric or pickup head? Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Did you get someone to do it? That can be hard to fucking do it right.
Yeah, no, that was a gift from another thing too. When I finally was accepted on drug court and I knew that I was gonna not go back to that lifestyle anymore, my family accepted me back, and that was just with open arms, and that was just one great day. It was just amazing.
Yeah. And this is your grandparents, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
this is my grandparents, and okay. Just nothing but love. They're just happy to have me back, and just in time too, because my mom she had gotten really sick, but she got out of it, and so it was perfect timing for everything. But yeah, it was one of my birthdays. Because they saw how bluegrass and folk music was just pouring out of me.
Right. Hell yeah.
And that was one of my presents that they got me for my birthday was the Good Time. It was a Good Time banjo.
Oh fuck yeah, hell yeah, classic.
It's a Good Time banjo from Deering. And that was it. So and they had someone install a pickup on there for it, and yeah.
Okay. All right, so you got banjo, acoustic guitar,
a banjo, assortment of pedals, and then I use a chaos pad, and also there's a drum machine built in there, but I also make my own drum beats just live on the keyboard. I have a synthesizer too, a Roland JDXI synthesizer, and that cycles through a bunch of different sounds. They're just amazing.
So is that like MIDI style with the synthesizer?
Or? Yeah, I have.
So it goes like almost analog kind of, or no?
It's the synthesizer is an analog and digital crossover. But the only MIDI that I'm actually using is just the clock sync tempo for a few of the drum track beats that are installed on the chaos pad.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you don't necessarily need it to like tweak. You don't have to play the keyboard through it. It has its own.
Well, yeah. So I just played yesterday for a few of our friends, and because we haven't had company out here yet, and yesterday was our first time having company over, and one of our friends' boyfriends, he plays guitar and has pedals and stuff, and he was like, "This is an interesting setup." I was like, "Yeah, I'll show you guys," and ended up playing for like hours, and just like these people just really got into it.
Fuck yeah!
I was explaining. I'm like, yeah, like I use the drums on the keyboards when I have rhythm, but days that I'm like, if I don't have my rhythm, I'm going right to a MIDI.
Yeah, and it's funny how. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because I've messed around with drum machines too, and like when you don't got it, it don't loop right, and you're like, oh fuck, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it can even like be in beat, but it doesn't sound right or something.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd you come with Good Time Hobo? Is that through the banjo, or is that because you were homeless and all the?
So all right, I back when I was homeless. There was an entire summer where this is gonna sound weird. I slept in a bush with another homeless guy. We would share a bush together.
Okay.
And nothing too strange though. I'm except for it was the only bush that was like close to town and that we would not be really seen from the public, and it was just in a good spot, and we were panhandling every day, so it was just like this is where this is it. And,
watch each other's backs and shit. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So and his name is Gatorade Joe.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Gatorade Joe, massive alcoholic at the time. Like he would just drink as soon as he woke up to as soon as he's going to bed, kind of deal. And but he played too. He played guitar, and we came up with this idea that we wanted to have a full set band called the Good Time Hobo.
What the fuck? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that just eventually, once you got clean, once you started playing again, eventually it just kind of stuck, or
that was it, so like, and we would practice, and we didn't even have instruments at the time, and it would just be
I've had those conversations with my friends.
Right.
So you know what happened to old Gatorade?
No, I don't actually. No,
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, I don't know where you at, man? You want to be on the podcast? Where you at? Was he like an older guy, or?
You're back in the band.
Oh shit. Okay, so then that's stuck. That's cool, man.
You
guys were actually hobos. It was just a crazy idea. Fuck yeah, dude.
But,
all right.
But that's where it came from, because and it was also kind of while I was the friends and everything that were playing, and the music that I was listening to, and then I would go to see. I was like, like I have to. I'm a solo artist. I don't, just want to use, like, I can use my just Josh Robson. That's good. But I wanted to stick out a little bit, and that's where I came with it.
Hell yeah, dude. No, it definitely does stick out, because it's I don't know. It makes it can make you think of multiple different genres, I guess, when you hear a name like that or something. But,
yeah, and that's.
And then you have a twist on it though, because you're kind of doing some different. I mean, it makes me think of like some Woody Guthrie shit, or like I don't know if you know, like C6 Steve, or shit like that.
That's the thing. Like especially this past winter. So winter, I seem to get deep depressions, right? And that's, it hits me hard.
The Northerners, man, the winter blues.
Yeah. So it'll hit me hard, and they can last for a very, very long time. But while this winter just happened, I was able to really practice my instrumental stuff. So like any of the videos that you've seen recently posted, don't have many that are vocal with my lyrics or anything, and it was mainly due because like I focus in a different part. I'm journeying into something else that on a deeper level, and but my main goal with the style that I'm doing is incorporating this bluegrass folk with down tempo, EDM beats and stuff, and kind of having this mesh of stuff
going back and forth, or even in the same song sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in the same songs. Like I really, I think the banjo is a huge thing with when it comes to that, because it throws people off when there's, bass and beats and just like string
Yeah.
instruments going on, and then all of a sudden banjo comes in, twangy as hell.
Yeah, I like that shit though. I mean, it's fusion, right? But it's
Yeah.
I mean, I even like fuck, have you heard that band Gangsta Grass? You know they do like
No,
it's like hip hop, it's like hip hop beats, but then it has like banjos, dobros, like acoustic
oh,
guitars, fiddles. And
damn.
it's kind of like, it's not like some lame, this pop country shit where they're trying to sound like they're rapping. It's not like
Okay.
that. It's actually some
Yeah.
like down home, shit they actually
Yeah.
sing, and then they'll have
Yeah.
rappers on it. But like the drum, at least minimum, the drum beat is like very hip hop influence, which it's like
Yeah.
in a way it's like rock in its own right or whatever, the blues rock or some shit. But
Nice.
it's
Nice.
dope
Nice.
shit. But no, that's cool. I like when people mix styles like that, especially live, if you can go back and forth. And it,
Yeah.
sometimes not only do you want to, but it's like appropriate. You fucking jam out on one song, has all these layers, and then the next one you're kind of like talking or doing something
Yeah.
more mellow,
Exactly.
maybe even straight acoustic, or
Right, and that's one thing that I love doing with it so much, is that there's this sense of freedom that where you can do multiple things or just do one thing, or and it's just it feels very good, and I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, and I think one thing I always loved about the looping is that really every time I play any song, I never play it exactly the same. I'm not that type of player, but like with looping, it's like even more that, like, it's like this, like you said, it's like how you're feeling. Like, is your rhythm on or whatever? It's like this. It's like your vibe of the moment. Even if you're playing the same song every time, you can get into a whole nother jam, just depending, the improv. Basically.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. I dig that shit. So, okay, so you're kind of like gigging, slowly. You haven't. When did you start doing the loop live? Or you haven't done it that much, or you've done it?
Not I've only started doing it. It was okay. So when I was working at Stonehouse and doing stuff there, that was a blessing too, because now I'm able to practice on a stage and like get very, very, very familiar and comfortable with this setup on
Yeah, okay, in Stonehouse, that's a farm you lived on. It used to be like a Grateful Dead thing. Who owned it? Or
so no, it was a campground, and it was mainly just used for music festivals. And we and the owner, when he like had us staying there, because he didn't even live there or nothing. He's living in Chicago doing his yoga studios and everything. He's just like, yeah, just do whatever you want, pretty much. Like, if you guys can get festivals going, that's great. If you can't, whatever. He's like, whatever money you can bring in here, like, that's it's really how it was. It's how it was, And
right, but it wasn't his focus anymore.
Yeah, and we threw some beautiful music festivals. Our first tester one it was a 1-day event. And it went really, really well. We got a bunch of our friends, people I know, come out and play and just help, support the cause and try to keep this thing going, this place thriving. And yeah, so we did the first one. The second one even way better. We had just a lot of people show up. We had some great bands come. Also, this guy, he donated a $30,000 light show system for this event.
Oh shit!
So yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
It was building up to this glorious thing. It was a beautiful place. And yeah, and the first one we did, I didn't use a loop setup or anything. I was still just kind of working on, how to incorporate some of my stuff in it. And both the festivals, the first one, oh no, I didn't play the second one. We had played the third one. We did the third one, Stonehouse Revival, with all these really, really talented Dead cover bands come out and play for 2 days. so I played there, and it has just been with suitcase, kick drum, tambourine, my guitar, and
Right on.
just connecting with people, and so but since then I have played a few places with my gear. One place, this I think it was I want to say it might have been. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Before Stonehouse. I had been playing at other places. You, I've done a few jams with Georgia Ray, a fiddle player, which just helps a lot when you kind of share the energy with somebody else, and especially with
totally.
Yeah. So I have done. I have played at other places, but it just different transition, especially with going to Stonehouse, because I was doing 5 shows a week, and
oh shit,
I was hitting 5 shows a week, and it got weird. So it was again finding the balance within myself. Doing 5 shows a week, I started drinking much more, and I went to Stonehouse. I met Anna, and she saw that I was drinking a lot too, and I was just like I just need a break, And I asked her, I just need a break from gigging. Is it okay? Can I come and just practice music here and stay here for a little bit? And she was like, yeah, nobody else is here. And then, you said you're fine to do that. Then quickly we fell in love, and and then the story goes on. But it's been
right on.
But
you never went back to the 5 gigs a week? Or
no,
to where you were?
So when I
let me take a break. All right, never mind.
Yeah, when I started staying at Stonehouse,
everything changed.
Yeah, everything did change. I was quickly helping to manage this campground, and just kind of get not only my life back into some sort of order, and into figuring. It was kind of figuring out a direction of where I'm going to be leading myself into, and also with this new relationship and everything that was going on. So yeah, it was put on hold. I canceled a lot of stuff, because in the few things that I did make it to, it was very hard. During that time, when I saw you play at Vibe High, I had played a set there.
Yep.
That even just doing that one show, that one thing, it was fucking hard. I felt drained, and it was very difficult, and I wasn't even having that kind of lifestyle where it was gigging a lot and out late and doing, so I wasn't really accustomed to it so much. But yeah,
did you play twice at that festival, or I can't remember?
No, I
just that one time, or
I played the one time. I don't even think I messaged them the second time. But the last time, I know the last time that they had it, they asked I could come back there, but I just didn't. It was another thing that I was kind of in the transitions of doing different things, and it just myself. My energy just was not allowing me to go to do this. I did another festival. It was a family gathering festival, and what's it, Iowa? Played there, and that was a rough one too. So there was something telling me that you definitely just got to put a hold on stuff and refocus your thoughts and your energy into something else. And this is kind of what I needed to do, because we're living at Stonehouse inside a trailer. This is not going to last forever,
right?
And
eventually the property went away, or
he stopped paying his bills, and the bank came, they took it, and so and then we were still squatting on there aha, and then one day
so this all kind of happened, and then you're like, oh shit, I gotta regroup on the music tip anyways.
So it all kind of happened, and we were like, fuck, we gotta regroup.
Because that was right after I met you, right? You had that one last festival, and then or you didn't do that last one or something, right?
From Vibe
Because
High?
like at Vibe High, you were telling me about one you had in like October or September. But
Oh,
then
that was no, I
that
played
was
that
the
one.
last
That
one.
was at yeah, that was at Stonehouse.
But didn't
That
it
was
kind of end shortly after that one, sort of? That
yeah.
was the
So
last
it was
year, or?
after that. It was after that festival. We did a Thanksgiving, and it was just our close friends. Actually, and I did play a loop set there, which was really good. And then also we had to manage and run other people's festivals at that time.
Hmm.
That that came and paid for to do that. So there was man, the amount of work that goes into it is just it's just
It's
unbelievable.
crazy, man. Yeah, for sure.
um,
Just
but
trying to do it on your own. Yeah, you need a
yeah,
lot of
exactly.
support.
It was me and Anna, and then when we would have volunteers come in or whatever, they're now like that was even a hot mess. We had volunteers
Yeah.
completely messed up and just not doing their jobs, and just like we ended up having to do the
Basically,
work.
making it harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
So,
helping, but made it harder. All right. So yeah, and that's almost up until recent, and that's kind of what you've been on, kind of like honing the sound.
yeah.
You working somewhere full time? You said you're doing. I can't
Yeah,
remember
no,
what you said.
yeah, we're door dashing and picking up odd jobs where right now. Actually, I think we're gonna be trying to get into warehouse distribution. It's not far. It's like a Walmart warehouse distribution. But other than that, I've been able to have a lot of time with focusing on songwriting and with how you, I guess, using all these different instruments and just incorporating everything. So I've had a very solid while and been working diligently on doing so.
Oh
So
yeah.
I started reaching, because even during this time, I've had people reach out to see if I wanted to come play at the places, and I just been turning them down because I just
Damn.
yeah.
And then you realize like, oh shit, maybe I should have. But
Yeah,
so you just do stuff on
yeah.
occasion now, kind of, or
Well, no,
just
well, that was the thing. I'm just getting into this area. I got the one at the sports bar, but
oh, that's
it
right.
happened yesterday where after my friends were here and our friends were over and I had played. I was telling Ann, I'm like, I'm ready for the big stuff. Like I want to get back. Like I think I'm ready for the big stuff.
Right.
And like it's so weird because like I feel that I'm more than ready for the big stuff, the big shows, the big productions.
Fuck yeah.
And but I'm like, in a way though, forcing myself to go back into these smaller establishment and venues. But I think I kind of think that's how I've always been, where I work very hard on and even backtrace a little bit and still work hard. Like I know, I guess there's a fulfillment of that pays off to me in some sort of way.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, like just the process of getting the sound together.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
yeah, no, I mean, there's no shame in like, doing dive bars or whatever, smaller gigs, because all the
Yeah.
while you're like preparing for the big ones, and it's I don't know. I mean, some people, I've never gotten stage fright personally, but to me, I've always
Nice.
felt like when you get a chance to get an opportunity, like when you're ready. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, I'm not gonna fuck this up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's because all the while you're doing your thing and getting everything, you're prepping, so to speak,
Yeah.
the preparation process. So is that
Yep.
kind of what you're in right now? And then you just occasionally will get
Yeah.
stuff when it's kind of convenient, or
It has been like that right now. I'm kind of waiting though for these new possible job opportunities, sorry, to come, and to where we're more financially safe, and so I can
right? Yeah,
really put myself.
gotta have some security backup,
Yeah,
and
and
all that shit.
that's because we have been struggling and with our bills and just like really working long hours to kind of get everything,
Yeah,
still floating, still sailing, and
yeah,
and
bro.
but and it's so bizarre doing so, because like there's there's this passion and there's this just like this inner self telling me that you can do this, you know, like you're fully able to do this work and you know, continue this dream.
Right.
So, but I want to be secure before that does happen.
Yeah. No, it's a good feeling just to have that. And, you know, a lot of times when you're on the grind, whatever you're fucking hustling or going through odd jobs, it's just like more motivation for the music. Because you're like, to me, man, I mean, I've worked like every fucking job you can think of, from like janitor to fucking factory, whatever the hell. But I remember, you know, back when I used to work real jobs, I would like literally be like writing lyrics in my head and sometimes because I'd like hate the job so much. It was like fueling me to like, you know, keep writing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Not that you have to hate your job, but you almost know, like, you know, I'd rather obviously be doing art, and you know. Or,
that's definitely been one
and you
thing.
Don't have, and just being able to just pay your bills with art. You know, not like I have to be rich and famous, you know. Because even like big time in your own mind is not like, you know, some mainstream whatever, you know. But
and that's I'm very far from really even wanting that. It would just be something where I'm able to survive. I'm able to get by. I don't want to take more than I, you know, can handle, or if I do get more, I want to give. You know, that's really it. I'm not.
Well, and like having something unique as a looper, especially doing, you know, the multiple instrument thing, that can like give you that kind of extra thing that can get you. Because like, so for me, for instance, like I get a lot of gigs where I get good guarantees and they have a built-in crowd, especially like breweries and shit. And like 90% of all the other people they're booking are like cover people. You know what I'm saying? And I do a decent amount of covers, but I'm really trying to push originals. But being that I have a one-man band aspect, it's like something else that's cool to like, you know, witness, similar to like a loop thing. So it's almost like, you know, I'm grateful that I'm able to book as much, but it's almost like that's how I get in, because I'm not like, hey, I do all these covers and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, this is what I do, and I do some covers, but I'd rather not, in a sense. So it almost can give you that advantage, but it all depends on the venue and, you know.
Yep. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna grab the charger. My battery like came down.
No worries. I'm gonna grab a bonger. Maybe. The reefer. Also.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
There you go.
So I kind of I saw this briefly, but yeah, I'm a registered hemp grower in Vermont. I grew it was a pretty small crop, but you had to register and all the shit. And I saw you guys were kind of getting into. Were you working for like a bigger farm sort of thing? And helping?
No, you know what? So that was the odd thing too.
Didn't work out.
So we started working for this guy. He's like probably one of the richest people in this area. He owns his boat club and just like, this dude's just filthy rich. And him and his partner and his wife, they just figure like, we're gonna be hemp farmers, you know, and all this stuff. But they honestly had this was their first time doing this shit, and they had just a field of plants, right? And they had no idea what.
They didn't know when to cut it. They didn't know how to dry it. They didn't know how to cure it. They didn't know how to Bro, it's so common. Like, it's insane. People are like, oh, yeah, I can grow hemp, too.
Right. And Anna, she's done this work before. She's like, I've been on the West Coast. I've very experienced with this kind of work. And we went in there, and she was pretty much running the show. Like, they were asking her, you know, to like show people how to do this and all this stuff that she was telling them how to do, and you know, just everything from, you know, humidifying and like packaging, just everything. And but with that though, like she she would definitely wasn't getting any appreciation towards her work, and that's what it was. We were not really appreciated, and they
doing a lot more than they could, and
yeah, exactly, and just working all these long hours and everything. And I don't, entirely really know what they said it was going to be temporary, but when we started, they're like, oh yeah, there's going to be work for months, and all this stuff. And we're like, okay. And they're like, only if you get hired on. That was their thing. They're like, if you get hired on, you're guaranteed a $15 pay, and and there's this, like, you're going to be working all through the winter and all this stuff. Well, we didn't get hired on. He just said it. I don't think anybody did. I'm not sure if anyone did. Yeah, right.
They probably realized what might not have been worth it, the process.
Yeah, and
they probably just stole. They probably learned from Anna. Like, all right, we're gonna fire you now and tell people how to do it.
Dude, I swear to God, that's what it seemed like. Like, because this is the thing. Like, Anna would say something. She'd be like, "Well, you guys should be doing this," and like these guys would laugh. They're like, "Huh, yeah, okay." And then the very next day, you could tell
they'd be doing
it. Yeah. So they'd laugh, all right, yeah, sure, we'll be doing that. And then the very next day, you could tell they went on Google and searched what she had said or something like that, and they're like, oh fuck, she's actually right. She knows what she's talking about. We're doing it like that.
So okay, so the Vermont thing, it's been they were legal back when Kentucky was, in 2014 or something. And so they've been kind of ahead of the game, but since it went federal, and it's super rural here, it's super country, mountainous, farmland all over. It was the previous year was 500 registered growers, and then this year was 2,000. It quadrupled. And it's the same fucking thing. There's all these people who are oh, you can get 10,000 an acre. And they grow fucking 3,000 plants. They have no experience. Yeah. They think they're gonna just cash it all in and turn it into oil, and it's just gonna be CBD. And the fucking fucked up thing is, people don't know shit about mold or bud rot. Yeah. So they're fucking processing the shit with that in it, and it's dude, that contaminates it. That ain't medicinal, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta. That's the whole point of trimming. You're making sure you get all that shit out, and curing and drying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's super common, all these people just have tons of product and they have no idea what to do with it. They made an investment, get no return. And I actually grew some shit that it looks just as good as the regular, and I mean, it's not whatever, getting rid of it or anything, but it's definitely really good. And there's people just have no experience. It's crazy, man. And I mean, I almost almost appreciate it, because it never should have been obviously illegal in the first place. And it's cool that people are trying to get on the hemp craze, but if you're not going to do it right, you literally have to go on fucking Google and double check.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know basic shit. And it's people who don't even know shit about plants, and it's I don't know. I mean, I've done a lot of gardening and shit, and not with just that plant, but I used to live on the West Coast. I used to live in Colorado and Northern Cali. So it's just crazy. The CBD craze, but
yeah.
So that was pretty temporary. I probably just caught you guys. You're yeah, hemp, we're working here.
On
the social media. Oh, cool. Everyone's hemping.
Yeah, well, she's gonna be a CBD representative with one of our friends who has been doing this for quite some time, and they're out in Wisconsin. They got some their production going out there. Yeah. So, and it's always quality tested, for the pureness of the CBD and everything. And yeah, they're definitely on top of it.
Right on. And now Illinois is legal with the regular too, so.
Yeah.
It's just getting crazy, man. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, it should have never been illegal in the first place. And
Yeah, that's the whole thing too. My buddy said that his daughter went and picked up an eighth from one of these dispensaries, and just paid $80. $80.
That's insane. Well, and that's the thing. Like after, Cali went legal, they, first all the black market started plummeting, but now it's like they have 50% tax there on the Cali. So now everyone's going back to the black market. Like people aren't, or the dispensaries are for like tourists, or whatever the fuck, like people, who like who never know anybody, basically.
Yeah.
Makes sense, but yeah, it's just crazy, man. But I guess it's inevitable. Hopefully, it keeps going that way, or shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll let Bernie win. I don't know. What's going on? But yeah, man. What else? Where can people find you, man? When's the new music coming?
Yeah. I've been writing songs. And I'm starting to play out in this area. Sportsman Tap, that's coming soon. And then I'm hoping to get. I'm going to start like slamming some more gigs in this area, and then just start.
You ever play up at like Mackey's or not yet?
Yeah, I played at Mackey's.
I thought so.
Yeah, no, I played there. That's kind of the thing though. I want to start in this area to where I'm like, fully able to go out of state again, because I did when I first started playing my solo and just Suitcase or just even guitar and everything. My buddy Pete Dive, he's he moved over to my hometown, and I was a Pete Dive fan from the get go. He's a great folk artist, and I was just was like really happy he moved out close to where I live. We started hanging out, and like I would go over there and play guitar, and he's just like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're coming on tour with me," and that was the beginning, So we did we've done two Kentucky, Indiana tours, and just a few different states, and
kind of the rural or the regional thing.
Yeah,
cool.
And every time it's just been those stories have been they're incredible. Honestly, there's been very interesting times. But yeah, so I thought this was a great opportunity to do this with my friend, and we had a great relationship of giving good criticism with each other on our shows, and this was perfect because like we'd play a show, and like point out everything that we loved about, what happened in the show. And then we'd also point out things that we could possibly improve on. And as we're doing this, we're going to the next show, and we play at the next show and kind of watch for these things that we are doing within, that we like,
become aware of. And that's fucking cool, man. That's cool. You can have a relationship with like that, Yeah. There's no like ego getting in the way or what have you.
Yeah, and that's
fucking musicians and their ego. No, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, man. So so you did a couple tours regionally, and so is that like inevitable? You'll get back out with him? You guys still friends?
I'm not sure because I know he's part of the band now, and
okay. With what you're doing with Mix as well, is that?
What's that?
Are you sure? Oh, sorry. I'm thinking like the loop thing might not mix well with the folk thing, or no?
Yeah, it's possible. We did. It was actually a Maggie show where we splitted the time where, I played a set, he played a set, and it did. It mixed. It worked. It was good.
Right.
But so it is possible. I haven't been in touch with him for quite some time. We're now like Facebook friends, and anything that pops up that one of us are doing, it's super like or whatever heart, kind of deal.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you paid attention. Yeah, well, that's how we do with so many people. Cause
right. And so like I know he's definitely always will be my brother and everything. But I'm kind of interested on the tips that I was able to pick up and that he was able to pick up, and like for me just to go on my own out of these states, and because that was the main thing when we did these tours. That was kind of the whole deal, was with these venues that we go and play at, was he was trying to help me get into some of these places, and these people were definitely wanting me to come back, and they really liked what I was doing. And that was, I guess that was, again, Pete helped me out like with getting into these places and just helping another musician in that aspect of
and yeah, well, you're naturally learning shit as you're experiencing it with them. You know what I'm saying? Like how to do gigs and. All right, so yeah, where people is Facebook your main thing where people can find you, or?
Yeah, right now it is.
Recordings on SoundCloud or anything, or
no, not
just
SoundCloud,
the videos.
I will be having some stuff put down pretty soon. I haven't had. Hey, come on, brother.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh man, these kids have way too much energy.
Ah, shit. What do you expect? 11, 13? Shit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I will be recording soon. I've had a few people ask me to go to their studios and record, but they live like hours away, so it'd be a whole day for me to go record.
Driving and
right.
You almost want to crash there to make it more worth it, sort of thing.
Right. And just at the moment, I'm not financially at a place where I'm able to take these days off. Even if I take a day off, I'm wanting to rest.
Yeah, no, totally. You need that shit too, man.
Right. So I'm just kind of building, saving money, build my own recording studio so I can put more music out there and quality sound. I'm very, very picky on quality sound.
Hell yeah, dude. That's important. When we have a lot of tools to make it kind of easier to get quality in a sense, you can tweak it on your own nowadays, equalize and all that shit, mix and master. If you get good at it, whatnot. But cool. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to hearing some shit. I'd say you could come out here. I'm even further away. I do a lot of shit in my home studio.
I would see. That's the trip I would do, because again, you're another musician that I love what you're doing. Because like the other people, they're like sound engineers. They don't play music, so it really wouldn't be like me to go out, hang out too much, and just like have a good time with other people and jamming.
It can be a whole nother experience, the recording process, when just like being in that comfortable aspect, or to me the point is like to make it as personal as possible. You know what I'm saying? You got to be fucking super comfortable to do that. Which, not to say you can't at a studio, but it's almost like mentally preparing more. Yeah, and that was the other thing too, of like what I was gearing towards the home studios, because as loop artists, like I love to be in my own headspace to get as comfortable and experiment with that, and if I'm at another place and trying to lay down a perfect, whatever, that it might be a little bit more difficult with like those distractions. Well, to me, I think, because I kind of like want to start, I used to make music like this more, but to me, with a looping aspect, it would be doper to like, let the layer, or like the drum beat layer or something, ride for a while before actually like improvising. Yeah. So then it's more like the layers are more like constructed, which obviously you might do anyways, but it's like, is it more improvised when you're doing it on the spot, right? Or you have some type of
it's more
direction?
I have a few different techniques that I use while looping. I'll either build a huge layer loop of all the different instruments up, and then I'll break them down and kind of bring in vocals. I'll do that sometimes. Or I'll play a song acoustically, and like in the middle of the song build a big loop up, So I have a couple different methods of how I do it, but it's
That's cool, man. I think I just think with looping, the studio magic you could do with looping gives you like a whole nother aspect. But no, that's cool. Either way you could, and that's the beauty of it too. You could do like both methods and just see what works better.
And that's kind of what I mean, because really I kind of got it down to there's another method I do. I'll just like have one rhythm percussion going, and I just bounce between different stuff, just like with key changes and everything. So but I became pretty solid to, again, and I think that's another part of that sense of freedom too, where you don't have to stick to the one way of doing something. And I just I love it.
Well, and the dopest bands or whatever, solo or not, like even if you have a studio version that's whatever kind of like solid in its own right, you can always do it different live, and that's kind of the beauty of it, like even more. You know what I'm saying? Jam bands are just bands that don't play the same shit all the time. Like you can have your studio version that's your solid structure of what of the song, but then obviously can always be different when you do it live. So even if like in a looping aspect, a lot of times the studio version is almost simpler in a sense to kind of like be more appealing or something. I don't know. Like to me, when I think of loops, it's always almost like a driving rhythm force, like a beat you don't get sick of because it's looping over and over. You know what I'm saying? And then the shit you do on top of it obviously makes it more, entertaining and what have you. But just like a good groove that like it only needs fucking one measure of drum or whatever the fuck. It sounds good. Going over and over. It's like that's kind of like the simplicity of hip hop or something. It's just the words are the bonus, but like a lot of times you get into like the instrumental more or what have you. I don't know. You feel the groove, man. Simplicity can be cool, but shit, man. Seems like we breezed through this pretty quickly. Easy to talk to.
This is great.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for being on. Man, do you got any fucking family near Beloit or no?
Well,
what about your dad? Your real dad?
What's that?
You look like one of my friends, dude. Like crazy, especially since you don't have glasses and your dreads aren't down.
No, not in Beloit. I don't have family.
South Beloit, Illinois. No.
No.
Yeah, my buddy John Ivy. He looks very similar to you.
Really? Nice.
But I just forgot to ask. You never know. But shit, man. It's great talking to you. Good Time Hobo.
Same, Jacob Green. Thank you.
Find you on the Book of Faces. That's the main spot.
Yeah. And soon I'll be having other stuff too, SoundCloud and all that good stuff.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Cool.
But hell yeah, dude. It's good talking to you. Thanks for being on the podcast. Anything you want to say, project to the people, the listeners?
I just want to.
You want to what?
Well, happy and peaceful. All love.
Yeah.
All love.
I think you expressed a lot within this, and you got a cool story, man. It's kind of cool how it all came back around. Full circle to music, and metalhead to good time, hippie folk, trance looping shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you call your music? I can't. Don't you have?
You know what? My friend, she said, this is what she described it. She's like, it's a rustic folk electro jam grass.
I know exactly what that is.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, we're talking about Keller. He always would jam with the fucking Yonder. I've seen it with like Traveling McCurries and
yeah. I saw him with Yoda. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or he does that. He goes that way too.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's fucking shit.
Right?
I forgot about that. Cause he even does that Oh, that Keller and the Keels, that's like straight grass. There's no a loop and shit. So yeah, that's dope, man. Just to be diverse like that. So you're already doing it, man. I hope the best for you and keep fucking jamming, bro. I like the videos.
Thank you,
and yeah, man. Hopefully get more gigs. Make it it's a process. You slowly get rid of the odd jobs and just fucking do the music.
And I think so. I think with being familiar with it, I'm gonna get back into it kind of, more confident and a little bit easier. I just, it is a process. So.
Fuck yeah, dude. And like you said, you got to be ready and comfortable, and just after doing it and what have you. But right on, man. Thanks again for being on. Appreciate it. Good seeing you, brother. I'll say the little peace out thing. Thanks for being my guest, Josh Robson, a.k.a. the Good Time Hobo. This is Music, the Universal Language Podcast. I'm Jacob Green. Oh, yeah. Thanks for being on, brother. It's good seeing you. Yeah, stay in touch, man. Well, I have no idea when I'm back in the Midwest, but we should try to do a show or something.
Yeah, dude, get a hold of me. Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Might be a minute, but yeah, anytime you find yourself out here, man, just hit me up.
I will. Beloit, or where is it?
I'm in Vermont.
Vermont? No, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if you ever East Coast.
The Beloit got me.
Yeah, no, I haven't lived there quite a while, but that's anytime I am in that area, that's where I'm staying and playing gigs in the area.
Yeah.
So it was always like northern Illinois, I dipped down into, and then all around Wisconsin sort of thing. Iowa and Minnesota too, fucking trying to get in where you fit in, get wherever they let you fucking play. So,
I like to come out to Vermont sometime soon because I know the seasons, like the fall change. Dude,
it's
beautiful.
The foliage. Yeah, the foliage is like the best time. I mean, you kind of can get a lot of tourists or whatever, but no, it's beautiful out here, man. And I'm really in the sticks. It's
nice.
The towns you go to are literally one horse towns. So,
nice.
It's everywhere is like a rural route or a country road. So it's cool. Green Mountain State, man. But yeah, brother, it's good talking to you. Thanks for being on, man. Peace, man.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Peace.